Hi, this is Jason Fielder with the Daily Forex Report for October 22nd. We're looking at the US-Japanese yen pair. I am expecting this pair to move between 101 on the high side, 0.24, and on the lower side, 96.43. Now look for some resistance to come into this market around 97.90 and for some support to come in around the 97 mark. Now, if you notice here, we have a blue dot here. This is our overextended indicator, and this particular indicator tells us that we have a 64.8% chance that this particular pair from the close of this session, or basically the open, right at the open, they're pretty much the same, that we have a 64.8% chance that it will retrace down to the low. If you recall, yesterday we had one in the pound, and I'll go over that when we get to the pound, but this particular pair has, like I said, a 64.8% chance of moving down, which it's up right now, which is kind of cool because if you sold, you'd get more than this spread. There's a potential to get 43 pips between these two, between basically the close and the low of the day. And if you sold now, you'd actually get a little bit higher than that. So let's move on to the Euro USD pair. This particular pair, don't mind the lines. I'm just doing some testing, some testing at this point on some automated trading. Nonetheless, we have looking for this pair to be between 1.3154 and on the lower side 1.2632. This pair moved down, of course. I do expect it to continue moving down over the next session or two. Look for some resistance if it does move higher at 12900 and some support at 12750. Let's switch over to the pound US dollar. As I said yesterday, or as we talked about a little bit earlier, we had the odds were pretty good that from this point at the open that it would retrace to the low of this bar. Well, we did put on that trade. We used a 1-to-1 risk to reward ratio. It was 55 pips. So I used a 55 pip stop loss, 55 pip take profit, and just let it run. It, as you can see, moved higher just a little bit and then just tanked and just moved on down, as you can see through the day. Well, that gave us a profit of 55 pips. Of course, that is a gross profit. Now, as you can see, we have another little blue dot, which means that we have a 82.6% chance that the market's going to move lower. Basically from the close of this session down to its low. Now, I'd put on the same trade. Take the difference there. There's a possible 128 pips, so we're not talking about a small amount there. But you could use a 1-to-1 risk to reward, and your odds are that you're going to make money, and the odds are pretty good at that. Now, I am expecting this market to move between 167.72 and on the lower side 160.69. Now look for some resistance around the 163.50 level and some support at around the 160.100 level for this particular pair. I do expect this pair to continue moving lower over the next session or two. The bias is to the downside, of course, at this time. So, by the way, if you want to read more about this particular I call it the overextended indicator, you can do that in the Trading Labs and at www.foreximpact.com. We also are working at this current time to add money management and turn it into what I call a true system where you back test it and forward test it and all that. So keep an eye out for it. We could be looking to put that out before the end of the year if the results are good as far as our long-term testing, both backwards and forwards. Moving on to the U.S. Swiss, we're looking for this particular pair to move between 117.92 and 114.41. Now look for some resistance to come into this market around the 11700 level and some support to come in around 11600 if it does move down. This pair is moving up. The bias is to the upside. Look for opportunities to go long in it essentially. Now yesterday we had the New Zealand dollar rate decision. The consensus was that they were going to move it from 7.5% down to 6.5%, full point move, and indeed they did do that. It's also reflected if you take a look at the New Zealand US dollar pair. It's reflected in that. Now the Eurozone tomorrow, pretty much all we have for tomorrow. It's kind of a quiet week overall, but we have the Eurozone releasing their current accounts for August at 4 a.m. Eastern time, and there's really no consensus at this point as to what those numbers, the projected numbers, will be. Well, until tomorrow, this is Jason Fielder. Good trading.